Hello, dear friends. Let's talk about problems of Ford Focus. If the Ford Focus second has no traces of major tin damage and a service booklet is neatly filled, it is difficult to make a mistake when purchasing. The whole tin, trap and other mechanics are solid, which is a good feature of used models, especially car ones, which are exposed to increased loads. It is far from being a second-generation Ford Focus flawless car, but it can generally be said that with a little more care and attention, it can be a very reliable and durable car. The failures are generally of such a nature that the driver does not have to interrupt or leave the road. Ford Focus has not had major problems with gasoline. They are generally long-lasting and reliable. The diesel situation is worse. Frequent breakdowns and frequent costly repairs. Strong vibrations of the diesel or gasoline engine while operating and switching to safe driving mode. Reduced engine power can indicate a malfunction of the ETM model. It is very important to replace the engine oil on time. The Ford Focus will not start at the fuse at position F9, 20A. Blows see if the electrical installation does not lock the EGR valve and short circuit it. Repair the installation and secure the electrical installation using laces. For Ford Focus gasoline engines, the gas model problem is solved by reprogramming the ECU engine. Gasoline engines have problems with the fuel pump in the tank. Windshield washers are a problem with the washer fluid that can get into the spark plug openings. And if the engine does not warm up regularly for the liquid to evaporate, the spark plugs rust and cause a problem if the spark plug is to be removed. The service was fitted with a modified design washer to stop water from leaking to the cylinder head. On the 1.6 engine, a sound like a click of a relay heard several times at idle, initially thought to be connected to rough idle, is explained as a cable connected to the gearbox to the gear level plays freely. Redirecting the cable in the engine compartment solves the problem. The Ford Focus 1.6 gasoline jerk in engine and acceleration problem can be solved by reprogramming the ECU engine. For gasoline engines that have a chain, the chain is stretched up to 250 kilometers, followed by the distinctive ringing of the chain. Diesel engines face standard problems faced by modern diesels. Frequent blockages of DPF filters, occasional problems with turbines and EGR valve defects. Vacuum hoses can cause restless operation and reduce engine power. There are also floating flywheel failures and injector problems. When buying diesel, paying attention to higher mileage can mean too much injector wear, which manifests as uneven and noisy engine running in neutral, starting problems or poor acceleration. They should also pay attention to excessive vibration on the back or noise when accelerating at low speeds. Then the most likely to blame is the excessively worn floating flywheel. Ford Focus diesel problems with the turbine blockage in the engine oil supply lines to the turbine and lack of lubrication damage their turbine bearings. All turbo diesel has problems with the injection system, which sometimes involves just replacing the washer, 1.6 TDCI, and other times you have to replace the injectors, 1.8 TDCI. High pressure pump failures symptoms are difficult for the engine to start, has problems with dynamics and much smoke. On diesel engines, there are regular problems with a blocked EGR valve manifested by black smoke during normal driving and reduced engine power. Clogged soot particulate filter. Anyone who buys diesel to drive around the city should look for a diesel version with no particulate filter, because soot particulate filter get clogged if the car is constantly being driven around town. For diesel engines, it is recommended to use quality diesel and to periodically change the fuel filter. Impurities in the diesel can block the injectors, as manifested by difficult starting or malfunctioning of the engine. Often it helps professional cleaning of injectors with the help of additives. Sometimes cleaning does not help. Likewise, a car with dirty fuel filters will accelerate less or lose power at higher speeds. For diesel engines equipped with a particulate filter, DPF life varies depending on how long the vehicle is, about 150 km to 1000 km. Sometimes the the filter life can be longer, but sometimes less, especially if it is driven for shorter distances when the filter is less frequently regenerated. Stronger versions of the Ford Focus 1.6 DCI units have problems with common rail injectors. The vacuum circuit is causing problems. The throttle pedal position sensor is malfunctioning, and there is also an oil leak. Engine malfunction, light, diesel lost power, and engine running in safe driving mode. Hiss can be heard. Can be caused by a crack on the intercooler tube. The 1.6 DCI DV6 steel tube of the turbine intercooler shoots as a result of material fatigue as a result of vibrations. A bracket rigidly attached to the engine. By May 2010, turbo failures were becoming more common on high mileage DV6 1.6 TDCI. The end of the plastic rod of the Ford Focus 1.6 TDCI engine oil dipstick can break and drop into the sump, requiring the crankcase to be removed. Ford Focus diesel particulate filter diesel engines on EU5 1.6, 110 and 2.0 136 engines require replacement of the soot particle filter at about 150 km. Ford Focus 1.6 diesel fuel return hose is not to specification and may cause fuel leakage. 1.6 TDCI engines throb and vibration, noise from the exhaust manifold, vibrations from the gearbox engine, possible problem cracked, broken catalytic converter carrier, damaged catalytic converter. Ford Focus second 1.8 TDCI engine typical symptoms are floating flywheel malfunction, injection system problems, high pressure pump. Sometimes you have to count on crankshaft position sensor failures, intercooler pipes, soiled EGR valve, injector and turbine problems. 2.0 TDCI engine. Acceleration hole solved at the end of 2005 by software update. 1.8 TDCI and 2.0 TDCI have problems with Siemens common rail pump CSV valve failure. Turbine hoses. With the Ford Focus 2.0 TDCI, the turbine hose can fall out of the turbine, causing it to lose engine power. The hose must be reinstalled and the casing tightened while using a new casing. The clutch pedal return spring can become uncomfortable. Clutch pedal. Frequent and very loud whining. Lubrication makes the whimper disappear. Beware of a Ford Focus 1.6 TDCi equipped with an automatic CVT transmission. Fortunately, there are very few. Basically, the box is made for engines with 230 Nm of torque, but the engine develops 240 Nm of torque. The automatic transmission requires a fluid change every 3 years. To avoid clutch wear, it is also very important to avoid deposition in place. Change to N. It's an easy change between D and N. As mentioned above, beware of DuraShift CVT automatic transmissions with need costly repairs after 120 miles. A much better choice is therefore the conventional manual transmission. Servo pump calendars can lead to fuel leakage from the servo pump and a gradual loss of steering power. It can usually be reached. Fixed the problem of crunching when managing. In models manufactured between 1.6 2004 and 31.1 2005 by replacing the clamp. August 2008. Revocation to replace the power steering hoses because the power steering hoses were not specification. Models were manufactured between April 2 and May 15, 2008. Power steering hose problems can cause the hoses to burst prematurely with loss of steering assistance. In extreme cases, the likelihood of a fire breaking out of the engine, splashing hydraulic fluid that comes in contact with hot engine components. Corrosion of sometimes of aluminum wheels becomes a big problem after 4 years of car age. Problems with switches that control lights for no valid reason. The radio faces poor reception. Occasionally cruise control does not work. Owners also report cases when all lighting or instrument panel or alarm fails. On the passenger side, the headlight is very difficult to replace. September 2005, Ford Focus built between April 2003 and March 2005. Recall due to windscreen wiper check. Water can penetrate the wiper motor. If the water contains salt, it can cause a short circuit on the engine and leave the cars without a wiper. In extreme cases, a short circuit may cause a wiper assembly to overheat and melt the components nearby. Cars are fitted with a new hood, which better protects the wiper motor from water. Common problems: a faulty ignition switch that causes the key to not turn in the lock, a very common problem in early models. On some models, the temperature needle plays. The most common problem is the temperature sensor, which needs to be replaced. Frequent problems with the original radio, poor reception, hard to read MP3, freeze operation. The problem is eliminated by reprogramming or changing the radio. February 2008. Corrosion of the engine cooling fan control module may cause malfunctioning. Models manufactured between July 2004 and December 2006 can have been recalled to address the possibility of accelerated corrosion and short circuits for engine cooling fans when the rods are salty in winter. In extreme cases, corrosion can penetrate the electrical circuit and cause overheating. In rare cases, overheating may be sufficient to ignite the fan module and surrounding wires. Common problems with the complete failure of the dashboard on vehicles made in 2009 and 2010. Ford Focus has second-generation bulb overheating problems due to installation voltage problems. The front windshield may leak in the upper middle of the windshield directly below the antenna due to tire problems. Water in trunk, replace rear door hinge carrier gasket. Poor connection and poor seal around the windshield liquid nozzles can cause water to drain into the engine plugs, which then severely corrode. The second-generation Ford Focus is one of the best cars in its class, both in price and quality, which is undeniably offered for the money. Restyled in 2008 by many, it has also made it one of the most beautiful in its class, and progress is evidently in the interior. Almost perfect for driving, comfortable, spacious, and reliable. Don't forget to subscribe my channel, and if you're the owner of this car, then share your experience. It will help others to choose a car. Goodbye.